Hello, it's Diane. I'm here to show you the journals that I completed before I went on vacation. They've been sitting here patiently waiting for me to come back so that I can show them to you and put them in my shop. Before I forget, I just want to show you that there are bits, leftover bits, that I am including with each journal. So I'll just set them aside. Just leftover papers that you can use to make embellishments with if you'd like to. I think I need to cut that a little bit. So they're very, very similar. They're using a kit from TLC Creates Vintage, and the kit is called Victorian Era Harlequin. So they're Victorian images with the Harlequin pattern, which is really cool. Very unusual. So I love it. And I had a lot of fun creating with this kit. So what I did was I printed the pages. I think there were 11 pages. Remember, I made these 2 weeks ago before I went away, so I'm trying to remember. I think there were 11 pages in the kit plus journaling cards. And I split the pages up. I printed one extra so that I had 12 pages. And I split them up between the books. So there are 6 different pages in each journal. Plus I printed an extra one to put on the cover. So I cut it in half. Oh, that one doesn't have it on the back? I guess I didn't. I just put them on the front 2 weeks ago. Okay, so, and then I printed extra of the journaling cards so that I could have enough for both journals. So one kit made 2 journals plus another printing of the journaling cards. And I did add other things, of course, other papers, and you'll see what I added. So I just used a plain book cover. It's not a vintage book. I just got books at my local library for $1 a bag because they were the right size. I liked the colors, and I chose the books that would be the right size for the journals that I like to make. So I have some of those books on hand, or the covers on hand, so that I can create journals with them. So, since it wasn't a vintage book and it didn't have an interesting cover, I Mod Podged this on the cover with a matte Mod Podge. It feels very nice and smooth. There's this fabric on the spine and some trim along the edges, and then this ruffle down the center. I glued a sheer ribbon underneath the ruffle so that you can tie it and you won't lose the ribbon. It's attached. 3 signatures. The book measures about 5.5 by 8.5, and they're both the same measurement. So I cut another page in half to put on the front and back. That's probably what I was thinking of. And it was a little short, so I just added some lace at the top there. This is one of the journaling cards. I sewed it on as a little pocket and added this index card piece, rounded the corners, sewed a little bit of fabric there as a tab. This is vintage trim on the edge. I did some stenciling, and I used some of my scraps, and there's some vintage ledger paper right there behind it. This is one of the scraps of coffee dyed paper, and I just tore the edges and inked them and used them as a pocket, and it's double paper, so it's reinforced. This is from a vintage calling card, Victorian calling card. I have a collection of them that I found at a flea market, and I scanned them into my printer and printed them, so it's a little bit smaller version than the original that I have. So I used some of those throughout these books. This is sewn to coffee dyed paper. I also printed some images that I had found on Pinterest of Victorian ladies and just glued them on some of the pages. This is just coffee dyed scrapbook paper. And I used some napkins, several napkins from Truly All Supplies, and I will link her below, and used them as a little collage on the pages. It's one of the TLC pages with some stenciling. Perpetual calendar. I think I used up all of these pages in these books, I think. Some lace on the edge here, and I used a bit of this embroidered, it's very pale pink, it looks white, but it's pale pink, this embroidered trim and made a pocket out of it. And this is a piece of napkin from TLC, or not TLC, Truly All Supplies. And so is this, a piece of napkin. This is just a white tag that I had sprayed. And somebody sent me this gorgeous, gorgeous tag, and I included it in this journal. Some pink lined paper. Some stenciling there. Here's one of the images from Pinterest. And just a little scrap, not a scrap, it was from a little tablet, lined paper that you can write on. And a fabric clip and a little bit of lace. Vintage ledger paper. Some dyed doilies, paper doilies up here with a ticket. These are vintage tickets. A little bit of cheesecloth and lace and a little tiny piece of fabric. So you could just write on these or tuck something up there if you wanted to. This is the center of the signature. I just tied the string in a bow. And I took one of the cutoff pieces and put it on as a side pocket and stitched in the center so it creates two pockets. Just a little lined tag there, and this is a stamped tag that Jill sent to me. I don't have that stamp, but Jill sent me a stack of those tags. Here's one of the images. Some more napkin, Mod Podged on. A piece of fabric and this beautiful lace that I found at a flea market, and I've been hoarding it, but I used a tiny piece here. This is wallpaper stitched to some scrapbook paper with a part of a guest check glued there and a vintage lady, and then just a strip of Pizzac fabric. Just napkin up there, napkin here. This is a little sack made from Vintage Book Page. There's a piece of vintage lace back here, a piece of fabric, and then a die cut lady, or a fussy cut lady, and a napkin. So you can write on that tag on the back. And somebody sent me this, and oh, I'm trying to remember. I want to say Becky, but I'm not sure, so I'm afraid to say it. But anyway, she sent me this, and it's an index card, stamped and inked, and this little shape is cut from scrapbook paper and glued on. And I love how she inked around that. It looks like a shadow around there. So I don't know how she got the ink, maybe with a Q-tip or something, I don't know. But that looks really nice. And it's two index cards glued together, so it's a little pocket, and I put these long skinny tags in there. Second signature, same things, and this is a vintage cigarette card right there. That's not a copy, it's a real thing. And there's one of her journaling cards from TLC. This, I printed some extras of the sheets that I could print out or cut out some of the ladies, and I used some of the background pieces too. So that's a fun thing to do, is just print some extras of the pages and use some of the, just cut out some of the elements and make your own embellishments with them. This is a piece of sheer lace that's embroidered with yellow, and a napkin, Mod Podge to that white tag. This is vintage lace up here. This is also cut from one of the pages from the kit. Again, the doily with a vintage ticket, cheesecloth, lace, and fabric. Another side pocket with one of my copies of my Victorian calling cards. Napkin. fabric with a bit of satin ribbon and a little piece of lace sewn on there, and just some tags. Some napkin there, and there, and there. She's glued on as a tuck spot here. And this is a paint chip from Lowe's, shaped like a house, and it's got a little house punch out there. I sewed it to some coffee dyed paper and just added some lace, fabric, and a little fussy cut flower. And you can journal on the back. This is a little sack that someone had sent me. You can't see the design on it very well because I kind of covered it up. But there's vintage lace here, antique lace, fabric, and a fussy cut lady. And then I had this tag that I had stamped my Tiffany & Co. stamp on, and I added this piece of a napkin Mod Podged on, and I love the way that looks. You can see the stamp through the napkin. There's one of the journaling cards. Again, a journaling card here that I stitched on as a little pocket. This was a sprayed, or I think I painted it with Distress Oxide inks, where you rub it on your mat and wet it, and then you can just dip your tag in it. So I had this in my stash, and I just added some napkin to it. And this is a copy of one of my calling cards. And this is another one of Paulette's journaling cards. It didn't come with this kit. This might have been a freebie for being in her Facebook group. It was in my files in my computer, so I printed it out and added it. Here's an example of using a piece of the background from one of the sheets that I printed to cut apart. I just glued a strip of it, tore it, and glued it on here, and then added this lady to it. Napkin. This is from the kit, a piece that I cut off one of the sheets. So they have the Argyle pattern, but some of the sheets have Victorian ladies, and some have these really cute doodles that she added. I love them. This is a double pocket here. Here's the napkin, and there's green lace, and it's this wide, and then this little bit of sturdier fabric that someone had sent to me. And this came to me from the same person who sent me that other card that I mentioned, and it's got a piece of vellum right here with the beautiful pansies on it, and then it's stitched to coffee dyed paper with the vellum in between, and I love that idea. I didn't want to lose that idea, so I actually made one card similar to this with some vellum that I had, so that I could remember that idea, and then I was free to give that away. Some tags. This feels, oh, it is doubled. I thought it felt thick. That came from a little pad of tags. Here's a little piece of fabric, flip, and some vintage lace. Some lace there. Place for journaling. A lot of these pieces on the fabric flips are from the fabric ribbon, the torn ribbons from, now that is escaping my mind. I've been away for too long. Oh, I hope I'll remember it. I'll put it below anyway. Doily, vintage ticket, lace, all that stuff. This is a piece of, it was labeled as vintage cuffs, but there was a question mark because the person who found them didn't really know what they were. That was a guess. And I got the bag at a flea market. So I put that on as a pocket. It's got some thick embroidery right there. They're very, very pretty, and I have 2 widths of it. This is a tag that I glued some player piano music roll to it, and it had the words on it. And then this is a Tim Holtz die cut. Some napkin. There's a little tiny piece up there. This is just cut from a piece of scrapbook paper that I've had. Napkin. A little bit of napkin up there and there. Another fussy cut lady with a paint chip and this vintage lace and some pieces of fabric. This is a glassine sack that I Mod Podged this black and white napkin to, added the antique lace and a little lady there, and then Mod Podged some napkin to this coffee dyed tag you can write on the back. And this journaling card. There's a lot of writing space, lots of tags and cards you can write on, so you can fill this up. There's some lace up here at the top. You can fill this up with journaling, and I just love the images in this book. Thanks Paulette for this lovely kit. I don't have names on these, so I'll name this one Elizabeth. I pretend she's Elizabeth somebody. And this one is Vivian. She just looks like a Vivian. And I hope I remember that when I put them in the listing. So this is a blue cover, really pretty cover. And it has the same trim and the same fabric and lace and everything on it. Different image on the front. It's very, very similar. The images will be different. The papers might be different. But it's laid out very similarly, so I will just flip through it. This is a Tim Holtz piece, calling card. This came out of a book that I have about fashion. I just fussy cut her out. So again, there's lots of stenciling and lots of napkin and images cut from the kit. There's a wider piece of that fabric and trim, and it's curved right there. Another one of these cards that was made for me. I think it's Becky. I'm sorry if I get it wrong. I just feel like this is all new to me. I feel like I've been gone forever. 2 weeks is a long time. Especially for a homebody like me. But we had a good time. This was dyed with pink food coloring or something. Yeah. This really matches this paper. Tags there, and this is a double pocket with some eyelet lace, scalloped eyelet, and then this is a piece of fabric that I bought at a flea market, and it was a very large piece. I washed it and then I tore some of it into strips, and I have some of it waiting for me to get listed in my shop. Napkin on both of those pages, and this one, and there. This looks pretty dark because I Mod Podged one of the ladies from one of the napkins onto that, but she looked sick because you could see the dots through the napkin, so it looked like she had spots on her face. So then I put this red rose on top of it. I love these paint chips. And there's a craft sack with a chevron design, piece of fabric and lace and a fussy cut lady, and then this is a Mod Podged napkin onto a tag and one of the journaling cards. Here's a journaling card made into a tuck spot pocket. There's another piece of the background of the paper. It's embroidered lace again, embroidered trim. piece of fabric, a piece of scalloped eyelet, a little piece of lace. I stamped on a piece of muslin there. This is just a strip of, it's not muslin, it's a little coarser weave than muslin, but it's just cream colored fabric. And this is a vintage cigarette card. This is a piece of fabric with some lace sewn over the top. I believe, oh, this, I was wondering why, I couldn't remember why I sewed this on, but it was because this corner was torn off. And so I just tore this scrapbook paper out and sewed it on, so it's an extra embellishment, and then added the doilies there. These came printed this, or these came this color. Now this double pocket, it's actually 4 pockets on this page. I did 2 pieces of the scrapbook paper, one shorter than the other, and then stitched in the middle, and it created 4 pockets. So you have this tag, and this tag, and these 2, and a calling card. Another calling card. It's this wide green lace with a little piece of green fabric and some lace. And I had this card already, this tag already stamped with my houses, and they look like Victorian houses, so I added this tag in. Napkin, napkin, napkin. This is a craft sack, and there's fabric and lace, and this lady, and then this is a die cut that someone sent to me. I don't have that die, and I just Mod Podged it on. So there's a lot of Mod Podge on here. I'm not sure if you can use a Sharpie to write on that, but you can write at the top anyway. And there's the back. So, when will I list these journals in my shop? I did open my shop again, so whatever's in there is available right now. These, I think, I will list Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm hoping that I'll be home then. 7 p.m. Monday. Today is June 28th, and it's Friday. So I think it'll be July 1st, actually. Yeah, Monday's July 1st. So Monday, July 1st, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will have the journals, and each journal will come with a little pile of leftover pieces that you can make embellishments with. So thank you so much. I'm glad I'm back. I missed you all. I hope that you missed me and my videos and my shop, and I hope that you'll all come back to my shop and see what's there. I haven't added anything new to it yet, but I'm hoping to get some more of my flea market items in there soon. I had said before in a previous video that I will be going back to my part-time job. I'm not sure what day I will start. I told her I was available starting on Monday. So that's why I'm going to list these in the evening instead of the morning. So I have to get myself, resettled back into, find a new routine and all of that. But I'm going to try to get some things listed in my shop from my flea market purchases as soon as I can. and also continue working on journals. I just won't be able to make as many as I have been. So thanks all for watching, and I will be seeing you again soon. Please like this video and leave a comment. Thank you.